Hello, welcome back to Storybook Crafts from the Alameda Free Library. Today we are going to be making a little bee house or bug hotel made out of recycled materials. This little house is inspired by a couple of my favorite books. There are so many wonderful books about bees, but two that I love the most are When the Bees Fly Home by Andrea CHeng, published by Tilbury House, and The Honeybee. If you haven't read this book, I really suggest you check it out from the library. This is The Honeybee by Kirsten Hall and Isabelle Arsenault, and it was published by Atheneum Books for young readers. So let's make our bee house. What do we need to make this project? I wonder if you can tell. First, a toilet paper roll, our favorite. We'll need some glue. I like to use glue stick for this. We only need a very small amount, and the less the better, so that we can then later recycle this project when it is no longer functioning as its insect house. So glue stick is best. We'll need some scissors, some twine or yarn. Ribbon is fine too, but these things can be reused and have a nice long life to hang from a tree or a plant. A chopstick, a pencil, or a marker, something that we can use to roll our paper straws, so something long that does not have a clip on it. So if it's a pen, make sure it has no clip on the cap. A pencil or a chopstick work great for this. And an old magazine. Junk mail is terrific for this too. I like to find something fun for the cover. So as you notice here, I went through my magazine. Sometimes I'll find a nice cover of a magazine. It's slightly more firm paper, but any page will do. Find one that you like to cover the outside of your tube. You're going to be using a bunch of the pages for the inside of the bug house. So take your magazine, make sure it's an old one that nobody wants to read anymore, and find the page that you want to use for your cover. I found a cute one here for the dog, so I'm going to set, or with a dog for the cover. So I'm going to set this one aside for a moment. I know this one's going to be my cover. For the straws on the inside, we're going to need to cut several strips of magazines. So you can judge the size here of your tube. We can measure to see how long we need the pages to be, or rather there we go. I'm going to kind of just mark that with my scissors. I'll mark the length there. And then I want to cut probably around 15, 16, 17 strips. Cut through as many as you can at once with your scissors. If you need to cut a couple of times, sorry lady, I'm cutting you right in half, then that's okay. So there's one stack. I'm going to go through a couple of times since my scissors are sort of small, and I'll keep a few there, a few pieces there. There we go. So I know how thick, or rather how long I need them to be. I'll cut them all the way down. There we go. That should about do it. Cut that all the way down. These are going to be straws. We're going to roll our own straws out of these pages to put inside of our bug house. Okay, that's a pretty good stack. Depending on how tightly you roll your straws, you'll need anywhere between 7 to about 15 or 16, maybe 17 of these pages for the straws. All right, now we don't need that magazine anymore. Let's set it aside. We'll use it for something else some other time. Let's do the cover first. Take your toilet paper tube, and the first three things we're going to need here: the tube, the twine, and the picture you want for your cover. I want to judge where this is going to go on my tube here. I want that face to show. So I'm going to cut my strip of paper here to the right size of my tube, making sure that the picture I like shows And I want that cute face on there for sure. So I'm going to start, let's see, I'm going to cut the words off just to make sure that I don't get stuck with any. And before I roll, I want to make sure it's going to cover my whole tube. Yep, should be just about the right size. I'm going to put glue all over the cover. Oh, hello, cute baby. All right, all over the back side of the picture that I like. Okay, so glue all over. Lay my tube on top. I want to make sure that doggy face shows, so whatever part of the picture you want to show, start rolling on the opposite end. That way you know that the part of the picture you like will come up on your tube. There we go. Nicely covered. Let's start. Before we start the straws, we need the twine. So we want to put the string on first before we fill in with all the straws. Put the string, twine, ribbon, whatever you have, right through the middle of the tube. Catch the other end with your fingers. Pull it through the other side and tie one loop knot here at the top. I like to do this with just one finger. Loop it over my finger, pull the ends through the other side and pull tight. Okay, there's the knot. Now my tube hangs. It's ready to become a bee hotel. Okay, let's make those straws. We're going to now use our stack of magazine pages, and we are going to roll this page on top of our pen or pencil or chopstick. Before we roll, put one strip of glue at the top. Okay, we're going to start rolling from the bottom of the page, but we want the glue, the top there. That's going to be the last bit. Here's my pen. I'm going to just bring the paper right over the pen. Use my fingers to tuck the edge under the pen and roll. Roll all the way to the top until the glue is set and poke that through. First straw done. I'm going to demonstrate that one more time. Oh, Rice Krispie treats, yummy. One strip of glue at the top of the page, just one strip, don't need much. Place your pen, pencil, or chopstick on the edge of the bottom here. Roll slightly and tuck the edge of the paper under as you roll all the way to the top. When you get to the end, give it a little extra press there and roll, and you have made a straw. Gently pull the marker or chopstick or pencil out. One note, if you roll too tightly, so here's my chopstick, I'm going to show you on that. If I roll this too tight, really tighten it, it is very hard to get off at the end. So when you're rolling, it's just a nice loose roll. Tuck the edge under. Remember to put that strip of glue right at the top so that when you get to the top it will stay. And give it a little bit of room as you roll. Don't make it too tight. Just let it loosely roll and fall in its place. And there you go, comes right off. All right, once you have about 15 of these, some are a little thicker than others, no big deal, you're ready to fill the hotel. Here's the tube that we set aside. Let's just start placing those tubes right in. And no glue necessary here because the tension between the tubes hold them in place. When you squish enough in there, they won't fall out. If some of your tubes stick out the sides, they're a little long and you don't like that, you can always go in at the end and snip off the edges of those longer straws that you made on the inside. But if they stick out the edges, that actually kind of looks pretty neat too. So it's up to you if you want to cut them off at the ends to make them fit the size of your tube. And now you are ready to hang this on a tree or a plant somewhere outside in a spot that isn't in the direct sun. and isn't near a bird feeder. Birds like to eat insects, so please hang this somewhere away from bird feeders and not in the direct sunlight. A little bit of sun is fine. Tree is great, a nice hanging plant is great, a little hook anywhere that you can safely observe all the insects inside from a distance. All right, have fun making your bee hotel. It might not be bees that reside inside, so observe which insects like these tubes. Take care, see you next time.